Hi everybody, and welcome to another Charles Street in brief. I thought it was about time that we did some history, and those of you who know me well will know that I have got an interest in Methodist history in particular, and over the years I've either bought or acquired or been given quite a large amount of documentation and ephemera relating to the history of Methodism. And I've got quite a bit which relates in particular to Newark and to Charles Street. So I thought it was about time that we delved into the archives and had a bit of ancient history. And the first scan that I've got from you is probably one of the oldest pamphlets that I've got, published in 1899 by Henry Davidge, who was a printer down Kirkgate. Now this must have been a labour of love, but as you can see from the title, this is a 19th century historic roll, the names of the ministers who have been appointed to the Newark circuit with the number of members of the Methodist Society for 106 years, also tabulating the chairman of the district and the president of conference, written by a chap called the Reverend Joseph Bush, who I'll tell you about in a minute. Charles Street didn't come along until relatively late in the history of Methodism in Newark. We weren't born until 1886. So I've scanned the final page of the document, and as you can see, there are a number of quite famous names in Methodism here. We've got right at the very top, 1891, Thomas Stevenson, who was president of conference, who was the founder of the National Children's Home, now Action for Children, and also the Wesley Deaconess Order, which is still going strong. After Stevenson in 1892, the president of conference was James Rigg. Rigg was a real intellectual who has written probably the best biography of John Wesley ever written. I mean, that's a contentious statement, but it is one of the best. If you work your way down the president of conference, we've also got William Watkinson, who was a big hitter. And then finally, in 1898, Hugh Price Hughes. Now, Hugh Price Hughes was the David Beckham of his day. The newspapers loved him, and he was lampooned often in places like the Punch magazine. He was somewhat sarcastically known as the nonconformist conscience in breeches. Apparently, he was a lovely man. He was a Welsh-born evangelist who preached in the open air, who had a huge church down in London, and was extremely well regarded, and unfortunately died relatively young. The next column is the chairman of the district. Now, as you can see, this is a chap called Joseph Bush, and if you just hop over to the fourth column, you'll see that Joseph Bush was also a minister of the Newark circuit. I'm not sure that he was ever minister at Charles Street. I think he was the circuit superintendent. And Joseph Bush originally came from Manchester and was known as the friend of village Methodism. And well, as the name implies, he was very active in promoting village Methodism. And of course, in and around the Newark area, there were many village chapels in the late 19th century. I also just want you to note the final figure on the right hand side, which is membership of the Newark circuit. Now, the Newark circuit at that time really would be Newark and surrounding villages, so it wouldn't incorporate Southwell. As you can see, we're actually losing members over time, in that we start off with over 1,000, but by 1898 we have got 1,000 members in the Newark circuit. Now, you might say, goodness me, that's an awful lot of people, which of course it is, and how we wish for those days again. But 1890 probably represented the high point of Methodist membership within the UK, so other circuits would be declining as well. The next photograph is really quite interesting, and there's a bit of a story here. Some years ago, they found dry rot at Barnbygate, and in pulling up the planks of wood, they found various things which had dropped through crevices, including this. And as you can see, this is an invitation in 1901 to somebody called Miss Turgoose. Dear Madam, please attend a meeting of the officers and teachers of the above school, which is Charles Street Sunday School, held on Friday, May the 31st in number 4 Vestry, Barnbygate at 8:15. Now, 8:15 is a bit of a funny time, isn't it? But there we go, 8:15. So that's a printed invitation to Miss Turgoose, who presumably was a Sunday school teacher at Charles Street. And as you can see, the business of the day was to think about the festival. And I'm making the assumption that is the Sunday School Festival, which was very popular in past years. And indeed, the next image that I've got is a scan of 3 postcards. Now, they are a bit jumbled up, but as you can see, they are Charles Street Wesleyan devices for the Sunday School Union parades in the years 1907, 1908 and 1909. And I was trying to work out where the top one is taken, and I can't really work it out. So if anybody's got any bright ideas where the top one was taken, I'd be grateful. Number 2 looks like a construction of Newark Castle, do you think? Could be, couldn't it? I mean, it's a fantastic piece of work. And then the wagon down at the bottom looks to be a bit less sophisticated, but nonetheless there's an awful lot of work has gone into that. And back in the day, the Sunday School Union parades in Newark were absolutely big business, and all of the churches would compete against each other. Which brings me on to the programme for the Sunday School Union Children's Festival, Newark and District, 1927. Now, as you can see, this is a complete day out for everybody at the marketplace and at Sconce Hills. Admission is 6p. Children under 12 are 3p, and the gates open at 3:30. And there's various sports and competitions, skipping and action songs. And a public tea can be obtained on Sconce Hills at a moderate charge. And this is the next slide is the breakdown of some of the Sunday schools in Newark in 1927. And as you can see, we are third on the list. Our minister is a Reverend Stanyland. The Sunday school superintendents are a Mr. Mills and a Mr. Wiles. And at that point in time, we had 302 Sunday school scholars, which kind of makes you think, where on earth did 302 Sunday school scholars fit into Charles Street? But as you can see from that list, there are some whacking numbers of Sunday school pupils, aren't there? Barnbygate, who are just above us, have got 356. North End have got 311. The Primitive Methodists, who were down Parliament Street, have got 139. And we kind of go on from there. We have the United Methodist. I think that was the Methodist Church opposite Barnbygate, which had got 118 scholars. And certainly when I first came to Newark, which is now well over 30 years ago, I can remember older people at Barnbygate saying how when the United Methodist Church was closed, and that must have been, I suppose, in the 1950s, ceremonially they closed the church doors and everybody walked across the street into Barnbygate. And then we've got the village schools. Balderton Methodist, I think, have got 243 children. So, as you can see, there are some huge numbers of children attending Sunday school in the Newark area in 1927. The next image is page number 10 from that booklet, which gives you a kind of bit of an idea as to the procession. So at 1:30, each Sunday school enters the marketplace via Bridge Street, all wagons and cars by Stodman Street, and there is a band playing, which is the 8th Battalion Sherwood Foresters Band. 2 o'clock, there's some hymn singing, concluding with the national anthem, and then the judging of all of the devices and wagons. Then 2:45, there's a procession basically throughout Newark town centre: Bridge Street, Cartergate, Lombard Street, Castlegate, Kirkgate, Middlegate, Stodman Street, and then back to the marketplace. You'd be exhausted, wouldn't you? And this is the order of procession. So the band of the Sherwood Foresters go first, and then you can see we are number 8 on the list. Now, don't ask me how all this was kind of configured, but Charles Street is number 8 in the procession, and we are followed by the Salvation Army band. So I make the assumption here that by the time we got round to Sunday school number 8, you could no longer hear the Sherwood Foresters, so the Salvation Army took over. Now, this is the competitions, or some of the competitions, for the best devices, the best wagons. So Class A, which is on a scriptural subject. Now, as you can see, there are some belting topics here, and Charles Street has gone for Jeremiah at the Potter's House, which is a test of anybody's biblical knowledge. But if you look at it, Barnbygate have gone for the spies at the Brook of Escol, and North End have gone for Jacob's vision, which is fantastic, isn't it? I mean, there's lots of work going into that, I imagine. But however, if that is not enough, you can then have a go at Class B, which is any other suitable subject. And as you can see, we're having a go there as well. We are crowning the May Queen. The United Methodists are over the garden wall, and the Primitive Methodists are having fun in the snow, which is a kind of leap of faith in, I quite forget when this was, but I think it was in the middle of, was it in the middle of July? Let's just have a look at my, June the 23rd, so fun in the snow, June the 23rd. The next image is competitions on sconce hills commencing at 6:30. Now, as I say, you needed a certain amount of strength and resilience to get through this day. But look at the prize money. Goodness me. First prize, 25 shillings. Second prize, 20 shillings. Third prize, 15 shillings. And fourth prize is 10 bod. Now, action song or musical display. we're having a bash at Starland, which is going to be led by Miss Randall and Miss Rose. And again, there's some fairly aspirational songs here. I confess I don't know any of them. But Barbergate are having a go for the Sly Reynard, and the Baptist Church, which is presumably down Albert Street, are singing Urchins Wee. Then, if you're not suitably exhausted, there is then a skipping competition. And as you can see, for us, the teachers who are leading the skipping are a Miss Pete and a Mr. W. Watson, who presumably is Mel's granddad. So there we are. What a day that would be. But fame beckons, because on the last page there is a photograph of the winner, first prize, 1926, and look who it is, Charles Street decorated wagon. And it looks like a vision of splendidness of butterflies, and there's a young fella leading a horse and butterfly decorations all over the wagon. And there's a lady in a bonnet, or might be two ladies in bonnets in the wagon itself, who presumably were teachers who were keeping order. And it looks like that is outside the town hall, doesn't it, in the marketplace. The final thing I've got for you is a booklet which was produced in 1986 to celebrate 100 years of Charles Street. There are still a fair few number of copies around and about, but I just thought that I'd read half a page to you, and there will be some names here that you recognise. It was about 1926 when Miss Quibell challenged Douglas Blatherwick by saying, "I'll give you a bicycle if you'll come to teach at Charles Street in the Sunday school." He came to open another chapter in the life of the church and Sunday school. He was the son of Mr. R.P. Blatherwick, a bank manager and later freeman of the borough. Always acutely conscious of his privileged education at Rydal, and you will remember that our very good friend Peter Watkinson was headmaster at Rydal quite a while later. The Methodist boarding school, and being greatly influenced by Christian masters, he rose to become vice president of the 1956 Methodist Conference. And if you notice on the wall at Charles Street, there is a plaque commemorating that. In accepting the Sunday school post, he considered it his duty to attend evening worship, where he found a group of young men and women prepared to put heart and soul into the church but needing leadership. It consisted of Leonard Hill, Bob Hubbard, Eddie Johnson, Arthur and Alf Staveley, Harry Whiteley, Fred Wilkinson and their wives. Arthur of the Wood Street Staveley family was a music lover. At the age of 16 he was asked to deputise for the organist. Arthur remained organist for 60 years, was leader of the senior Sunday school, church treasurer, and with his brother Alf formed the men's fellowship. Alf Staveley, a regular member of Miss Quibell's class, eventually led the primary department of the Sunday school with Fred Wilkinson. Harry Whiteley was both junior Sunday school leader and society steward for many years. He was a happy person who loved children. The church's transport service was his original way of inviting his workmates in the transport section at Ransom and Miles to a special service. It was undoubtedly his Christian living that induced them to come. And as always, particularly when I preach at Charles Street, I'm always aware that I'm standing on the shoulders of men and women who have gone before, who have contributed hugely to our church and to our fellowship. So I hope that you've enjoyed that potted history, folks. Hope you're staying safe and keeping well, and I look forward to seeing you soon.